AITAH for secretly planning on moving out despite my sister-in-law expecting to have her wedding at my place? I worked really hard at building my relationship with Ryan. I accommodated him into my schedule, did things to help him feel loved and appreciated, and did my best to be a doting girlfriend. I'm ashamed to admit it, but after all I've done, I can't stand him. I don't even hate him, I'm just repulsed. I discovered that he's extremely immature, and not in a fun-loving way. Whenever I point this out, he says he's like Peter Pan. This used to cause emotional distress, but I've passed that. He's a very controlling person who still thinks being mommy's little boy is some kind of an achievement. He talks about his childhood very vividly and acts like he's still able to get away with anything. Ryan describes his intimacy encounters with his exes in detail, despite making me feel horrible. I don't feel appreciated. He shushes me whenever I bring up my heritage because it's only keeping me tied to the past. He criticized my love for my childhood home and got very triggered because I mentioned some dear high school friends who happen to be guys. I've built a good career while he games all the time. I'm fed up. In 3 years, I worked hard to complete my MBA, consolidate my small business, and now, I have some major companies as clients. In the meantime, Ryan keeps relying on favors to get a job and he keeps getting fired. I've asked him to control his instinct to get freebies. He's content with getting free stuff instead of actually buying something that he likes. Last summer, he dragged me to a kiosk at the farmer's market because the guy offered him a free sandwich. What's eating me up is that he can't give me a straight answer after I've become suspicious that he lied about his degree. This is very serious, because it means that he lied about his prospects and he allowed me to include him in my life, and somehow, he's tried to force me to be responsible for him. I was made to believe he had found a job only to find out that he was attending board games tournaments at a local indie gaming shop. My feelings for him have changed since last New Year's Eve when he stood me up to go see his family and I wasn't allowed to join. We had already made plans for a quiet and romantic evening and I brought the food and the wine and he waited until 2 p.m. to let me know that I would be spending it alone. He said mother-in-law needed him because New Year's Eve gives her flashbacks from father-in-law. Father-in-law left her in the 90s and married his mistress in the 2000s. I felt horrible. He knew New Year's Eve is important to me. He knows that I was looking forward to a romantic evening and that my family lives on the other side of the country. He knows being here is a sacrifice for me because I have kids that I bend over backwards to spend time with and that flying every Wednesday to see them is a huge part of being present. I took a client whose deadline was January 2nd and I agreed because I needed the money. That was a game changer for me, but my heart was broken. After that I tried to work around not losing my love for him, but what I feel is that I'm experiencing the pain of losing respect for this man. I can't stand it, I can't even look at him, and I feel very guilty because I'm finding my happiness behind his back. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I constantly make up supposed work schedules just to get away from him. His sister asked me to allow her to have her wedding at my place because she can't afford anything else, and now she's not speaking to me but she still expects me to host her. I agreed on having the wedding where I live because I thought we could actually get to know each other and it would help to create a good relationship, which is important to me. I don't know if she's not speaking to me because she feels she doesn't need me anymore or because there's something I don't know that's happening. I'm mentioning this because sister-in-law and mother-in-law have a history of playing victim and sister-in-law finds ways to get aggravated constantly. I tried to talk to her and she has simply ignored my calls and my messages. I thought that because of this, she had decided to have her wedding elsewhere, but now I'm being informed that I need to remove my pets on my furniture so that she can use my living room for her ceremony. I texted and called to get clarification and was left on scene, and honestly, I got pissed. It feels like I'm begging to be a part of their family. I'm so angry, and I told him, and basically he kind of shrugged. I've decided to just move out without telling him. I talked to my landlord so that I can leave 2 months earlier. I'll just take my pets and everything I own while he's at work and just drive off. I'm feeling tired of feeling lonely within this relationship. Last month, I was inducted into a career guild and refused to take him as my +1 because I didn't want any pictures of him next to me. It would ruin the moment. I don't owe him anything. He left me basically alone when I had the virus and was very irritated whenever I asked if he could buy me some food. I owe him nothing of what I am, as he has never celebrated me while I bent over backwards to help his mom despite her attitude. I spent my birthday alone because he was busy. All he does is ask me how much more money I'm going to get in the future. I know this is my fault because at some point I promised him that I would help him fund his dream restaurant, but that was back when things were great between us. I know it's wrong to go back on my word, but I can help it. I don't want to be in his future and I don't want to invest in his life. I'm still down for what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm being an a-hole for planning on leaving him without telling him. I just don't want his family to yell at me like they did to my other sister-in-law when she left my brother-in-law. Also, sister-in-law can be very volatile and both she and mother-in-law claim they have assaulted people, but I don't know if they are just bragging. He has been asking what's going on because I can barely hide my contempt whenever he tries to initiate a conversation about helping him create a business. I'm fed up with having to listen to his insistent questions that are making me feel very uncomfortable. I told him I'm not an insistent person. I didn't harass him to come to my place when he stood me up on New Year's Eve. I didn't insist that he give me a present for my birthday because he's an adult. He says it's different since a business is a lifelong situation and a birthday gift loses value. I'm clear on the end of our relationship, but I'm kind of doubtful about ruining the wedding. It's 10 days away. Am I the a-hole?